BCS is the home of IT and technology professionals. We're a membership community that brings the industry together and helps shape it. This is BCS membership. We're here to help you find your way in this brilliantly fast-paced industry. Our Career Centre and Personal Development Plan will help you get the skills and qualifications that will take you further. We're here to keep your career moving in the right direction. You can access the e-learning tools, career guidance and new contacts to add to your technical skills and create new opportunities, keeping you ahead of the curve. Through BCS, you can get professional recognition and work towards chartered status. As well as keeping your technical ability up to date, you can develop the people management skills that take you to the next level. With BCS, you're well connected. Regular opportunities to collaborate with your peers will help you drive policy on key issues, such as diversity and cyber education, so you and your teams are equipped for the future. We can help you become an important voice for the industry. By growing your network, you'll be able to share your knowledge and experience and help influence where IT and technology are headed and how it affects society. Join our global group of 60,000 professionals. If you're developing your career, membership is here to help you shape your future. And if you want to use the experience and insight you've gained across your years in the industry, through BCS membership, it's you that shapes the future.
Good evening, everybody. This is Ram Kundanani. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ram Kundanani. I'm treasurer of London-based branch and also interim chair of BCS Finance Committee. Welcome to this session. Let me introduce you to Rohit Ratanmani. He is our regular speaker. Last year, he delivered a talk on Agile, and this year he's back with more stuff on Agile. And the good thing about Rohit is he shares his personal journey, and that becomes more impactful. Last year when he delivered, there are lots of positive feedbacks, and people learned and implemented what Rohit shared. So today he's back with us. I'll pass on to Rohit, who will share his thoughts, experience, and knowledge around transformation using Agile. Over to you, Rohit.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ram. Thanks for introducing me. No pressure on me now. Okay, so welcome everyone. So before we make a start, I'll just move this up around. So before we make a start, I just wanted to understand what do you think is meant by the word Agile? So put your response in the chat. What do you think is meant by the word Agile? Okay, I'll give you a few minutes and then I'll start. So there's no right or wrong answer, and there's no brownie points on this, but just want to get a feel of, because it's going to be a long monologue from me. So a methodology, time box, prioritization, be collaborative, continuous improvement, modern approach to product. Okay, sorry, need to. Modern approach to product creation, flexible development methodology, rapid delivery, flexibility, flexible in methods, good for user interface, heavy system, not fixed. Do as you want. Framework, I like that. Do as you want. Iterative change, not modern, postmodern, efficient, flexible. I keep, if you look at this, flexible is coming up again and again. Move quickly through plans, a mindset, project management is modern. Resourceful, adaptability. Wow. Really good details there. Flexible, test and learn. Wow, nice. So really good response. I'm going to share my screen as soon as I find my screen share. Here you go. Can you all see my slide deck?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So today, so this talk is a long talk. It's going to be a long monologue. So what I've done is I've broken down into two sessions. This is part one, where I'm going to start with talking by sharing what it means from what it means to being agile. And if you have been in this industry, you would have heard people talking about we should stop doing agile and start being agile. Okay, so what does that mean? And I'm going to bring that perspective in, and then I'm going to share about 18 strategies that that's something that I have used, I have tried, I have failed, I've succeeded, and in enterprise level and team level transformations. Some are straight out of transformation books, change management books. Some are something which I have experienced, and might be wrong, might be right, I don't know. So feel free during the session to drop in your questions. I'm not looking at the chat window right now, but at the very end, I would like to respond back to all your questions. What I'm thinking is I'll take about 45-50 minutes today, and then last around 10-15 minutes on Q&A. And then the next session scheduled on 22nd March, which will cover the remaining strategies. That's how I plan to cover this whole topic. And during this strategy, you will hear some behavioral patterns that I have observed that I think transformation would need, some leadership patterns, some strategic patterns, some tactics that you can try as a coach. So that's my plan. So before I start, who am I? Right? Who am I to speak about transformation and stuff? So this is me, my wall of badges. I'm a certified enterprise coach from Scrum Alliance, a certified team coach as well, which basically says, I have I have certain level of knowledge which has been accredited by Scrum Alliance. That's my LinkedIn ID. If you search by name, there's nobody else with with this name, so you'll find me. You can add me. And if you have any questions beyond this session, do reach out to me on LinkedIn. As soon as if I have a response for you, I will help you out. I'm also an IC Agile trainer. I teach about Agile coaching, enterprise level coaching, and Agile transformations. And I'm a certified life coach and an associate certified coach from International Coaching Federation. So what I do is bringing a lot of professional coaching experience into my Agile coaching. So that's me. That's my wall of badges. That's my LinkedIn ID. Feel free to connect with me. All right. So that's me. So we talked about what is Agile, and most of you use the word flexible, right? So if you search for Agile, that's what it means. Able to move quickly and easily. That's a basic definition. With that definition, you would say we are all agile, right? So we are all agile to the best of our capability and capacity, right? But what happens when and if you try to think about how are you agile in your own environment? So if you say you're doing a project at your home, you're doing some DIY work, how agile are you? How flexible are you? When things change around you, you are flexible to make your own decisions. But when you come and work in an organization, that agility comes down. Why? What stops us from being a decision maker at home, right? That's my perspective. At home, I am a decision maker. I am accountable for my own decisions. When I go in my organization, I don't feel that accountability. I feel constrained by organizational policies, organizational risk management, organization governance, and sometimes we are fed up and we rant as well, right? So being agile is simple. How flexible, how nimble are you to move quickly and change as situations change around you? Okay, and in this competitive world where customers like us, who don't like to wait for anything, who are so eager to go and pick something whichever is quick and easy and valuable for us, providers, service providers, product providers need to be agile. And that's the necessity of these days to become agile. So that's the basic definition of agile. But how does that human agility defined as in a software development. So this is something which I've taken from a book on large-scale Scrum by Craig Larman and Van Voort. Okay, so he's in the book says it's an attitude. Agile. He's talking about Agile. So he says it's an attitude to deliver business value to customer using common sense approach. Common sense, right? Which is very difficult. Common sense is very tough because when we grow up in our adulthood, there are so many constraints. There are so many dependencies, and we stop thinking of as a child. I'm not sure if you have heard about spaghetti marshmallow experiment. If you get a chance, search on YouTube. There's a TED talk on spaghetti marshmallow. What it talks about is how creative children are. You know, they were given same numbers of spaghetti with marshmallow and a thread, and they were able to create better and higher, taller structures than adults. Because adults have so many things going on in their mind, which stops their agility, their common sense. So let's continue and see what they say. So Agile is not a practice. It is a quality of the organization and its people. It's not just the organization. It's also about you, your team member, your leaders, every people, and not resources. So people, human beings. To be adaptive, to be responsive, to be continuously learning and evolving, and to be agile. Agile does not mean delivering faster. Key concern here, people come back and ask me like, how does that, we thought Agile is always about delivering faster. But Agile does not mean fewer defects or higher quality. Agile does not mean higher productivity. Agile means agile, to be flexible, to be nimble. The ability to move with quick and easy grace, to be nimble and adaptable. What happens if your quality goes down? What happens that your competitors have changed strategy and you have to not change strategies? Your quality process, your governance process have to be more agile and let go of whatever was planned, right? One of the Agile values, responding to change over following a plan. To embrace change and become masters of change, to compete through adaptability by being able to change faster and cheaper than your competition can. Perhaps faster delivery and higher quality will be achieved with an agile method such as Scrum. Okay, so the outcome would be faster delivery and higher quality, but the focus, when I come to the next slide, you'll understand why this statement talks more about thinking about agility, and that would lead to faster delivery and higher quality. But it is vital for business and engineering leaders to appreciate that the reason of agile methods is agility, right? So we bring in Scrum, we bring in Kanban, we use scaling agility like frameworks like less, safe, anything. But who is really using it? We bring in different tools, Jira, Rally, Azure DevOps. Who is really using it? It's the people, the organization team members, the leaders. They are really using it. Your tool, your practices are as good as the people who are using it. It's like saying, for every trade, if you're a plumber, I can, you give me all the tools that a good plumber uses, but I cannot be a plumber. Till the time I become and understand the way a practice or a tool has to be used. The tool is just a tool. Okay, so that's the basic definition of agile in software development. And I'm going to go deeper into what it means. So I'm borrowing this from Defining Agile by Dr. MS Sidki. He's the founder of Is Agile. You can search for him. He has got a lot of good material on agile concepts and techniques, freely available. So do search for him. So what he said was, and a long time back, this diagram that he created was a long time back. So what is agile? So agile is a way of thinking. Agile is a mindset. It starts with people understanding how they can be flexible enough, how can they be nimble enough to respond to change. Agility is also defined, it's described by 4 values. Now, if you have heard of Agile Manifesto, which came in early 2000, I think so. Yeah. early 1990s, early 2000s. So the Agile Manifesto, when it was written, it has 4 values. So Agile is defined by 4 values. People and processes, um, people and interactions over tools and processes, responding to change over following a plan, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and what's the last one? Software, working software over comprehensive documentation. So those 4 values describes what Agile means in software development, because Agile Manifesto was specifically written for software development. It is defined by 12 principles. Now, many of the times when you go and work in an organization, the values, the principles, nobody talks about it. What people talk about is practices. And what practices do they talk about? Let's do estimation. Let's do, let's create a board. Just a board. How is that helping? Let's do a daily scrum. Let's do sprint planning. Let's do scrum. That's it. That's focus on practices. My experience has been, one of the transformation I went into, I was told, we want to standardize estimation for everyone, for all the teams. And I was like, how can that happen? Because each one will have different understanding and different experience. They're like, no, everyone should give the same estimation to any story. So what the goal they had, or the problem they had, was they were not able to forecast. The forecast was very vague. So what they said was every team will work in 25 story points every sprint. Whatever work is it, that should be equal to 25 story points. But they did not understand that Agile is not about this practice of estimation. It's about a person who has to give you an estimate, who has to understand their constraint of developing, right? So practices are on the right hand side. If anyone is focusing on the right hand side, they are doing Agile. But if you're focusing on empowering a team, empowering team members to choose their path, give them a goal, give them a vision, give them a North Star, and let them choose practices which align to these 12 principles. And if you read these 12 principles, you will see it talks about improving your engineering capabilities, increasing collaboration between business stakeholders and developers, increasing your inspect and adapt. If the organization focuses only on trying to implement these 12 principles, you will see the organization is focusing more on the people who are really using these practices, right? So that's the concept of being Agile. If you are focusing on the right hand side, and I've also seen organizations saying, oh, we are using Jira, this is how we should use Jira, teach everyone how to use Jira now. And that becomes like, oh, we are Agile just because we are using Jira. It's like, how is that even possible? People they don't want to use Jira right now. So the basic understanding of why to use a practice has to come from people who has to use that practice. And that's not happening in many organizations. Practices are just dumped onto a team and said, this is what you're going to do. From tomorrow, you are a Scrum team. Follow Scrum principles. And nobody asks them, nobody teaches them what Scrum really means. And then they will say, okay, we start. What happens? 15 minutes of daily Scrum. Nobody knows why. Sometime for sprint planning, nobody knows why. What is product backlog? Nobody understands that. Just because somebody has thrown something on someone and said, go and run with it. And that's where problem starts. Put yourself in that shoe and say, okay, as a grown-up, if something's thrown at you, like, go and use it. How will you feel, right? But if you decide to take some action on something, I'm not saying thing from an organization perspective, from your personal life, if you take a decision to use something, you feel accountable. But if somebody throw something at you and says, this is what you're going to use for your life, you're not going to be, you will not agree. You will not feel accountable. You will, if you fail, you will say, oh, that guy did it. That guy said it will work. Oh, somebody said it will work. So building accountability, starting from a mindset of people of your organization, helping them understand how they can achieve those values and principles, and empower them to decide what practices. And when they do that, you will see faster delivery. You will see value in your in the deliveries that that they are doing. So that's your being agile and doing agile. I'm not saying, you know, if you want to retrospect of what's happening in your organization, think what's, you know, where is your organization focused on. Okay, if it is on the right hand side, chance to change your strategy, chance to help them understand how you can move away from this. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to take all the questions at the end. If there's something coming up on the chat, I can see there's something, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm not changing my focus right now. So based on this, you know, the organizational transformation strategy, the agile transformation strategy, you know, how they should focus more on being agile, on the human aspect, right? And you will say, you know, if you have, you would have heard consultants, coaches, even leaders talking about how to change, how to make and build an agile mindset within the organization. Okay, so based on that, all the strategies that I'm going to talk about now will be focused more on being agile rather than doing agile. So you will not hear me talking about lots of practices that can implement those strategies. But if you are ever eager to understand what practices can be used to implement those strategies, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And again, I would say there's no silver bullet. The practices that I decide to use for certain strategies depend on the kind of people that I'm working with, kind of organizations I'm working with, and kind of system constraints that I'm seeing. Okay, so the first one, and all these strategies, as I said, you know, some of them are directly from books, which really are useful. So the books like Leading Change by John Kotter. At the last slide, I put a few books which has been really useful for me to understand change management from a human mindset. And I can share this slide deck. This is not, there's no copyright on it, so I can share it with Ram and Altaf. They'll be able to upload it and share the link with you. So the first thing, the first strategy and the basic strategy, everyone talks about it, is to have a purpose. Why are we really transforming? You know, what does transformation mean? If you are in an organization who is working in, you know, who's going through a transformation, a quick check, ask your team, why is this organization transforming? And then let them write their own answers. If there is no clear or, you know, consistent response on why this organization is transforming, there is a big gap from the vision that the organization leaders have on the purpose of the transformation, and that communication has not gone down. I remember I was called in a big financial organization with the leaders, managers, a senior leader, and saying, you know, Agile does not work here. We have tried Scrum, we have tried Kanban, it doesn't work here. But we have called you, give us something, how can we make it work? And I said, okay, if you have called me, give me 10-15 minutes, and then and I got my ad. This was pre-COVID, so I had my post-its, and I said, okay, each one of you, right? What's the purpose of this transformation? And I gave this to the senior leader as well. And I said it will be anonymous. Nobody has to be the right or wrong answer. What I did, I just took those answers and put it in front of everyone. And there was so much of difference. Somebody said something, and and then the leadership recognized that the purpose itself is not defined. I generally use something which is called as a transformation canvas with the leaders to define what transformation really is. What's the purpose of it? Why should we, even work behind it? John Kotter, in his 8 steps of change, he said the purpose should have some kind of emotional connect, should have some kind of challenge, saying, we are transforming the organization to overcome our competitors, something like that. So it has to have some kind of solving some kind of problem, solving some kind of giving some hope, giving some excitement, and have some emotional connect. Okay, you should be able to explain each when someone reads within the organization, that team member would be able to explain, this purpose really resonates with me. I really like, I would like to work for this. I would like to achieve this. A purpose to be the best in providing cloud services, which can then be better than the competitors to overcome and capture some segments. Okay. Now, that's starting with a purpose. That's the first strategy. Now, the second strategy is to have some champions who are leading the purpose. Now we define the purpose, and this champion has to come from the top leadership. I always say transformation does not happen from bottom up. It has to happen from top down and bottom up together. And most of the time, organizations, if you see leaders build or create a goal and then they leave it like, oh, go, this is a goal for you. This is where the engagement needs to continue, and the leader should demonstrate how they can help the teams to achieve the goal, and let the team find their own path. It's like setting up the North Star and then letting them define or create that path. This is where leaders need to open up and show that they are also struggling, they are also trying. Working in one organization, we had a goal of building a learning organization where people believe, we had the organization had a big the attrition rate was too high. The goal was to build a learning organization because at the exit interview, people said there's no path forward for any engineers there. So an organization where people can learn from each other, an organization where people will be evolving and learning. So we said, okay, let's build that. Let's understand what we can do. And the good thing was the leadership was very much engaged in it because they understood, they knew the money that they lose in hiring and letting go of an experienced people. So what we did was we created our canvas of what do we need. We challenged their mental models. Some said, we give 10% time every sprint. And then when we talked to the product management, and they said we can't give them 10%. We build every hour of the sprint has to have some kind of value delivery. So 10% time never happened. So we built up some strategies how we can help the organization. And this is where the leaders came in and said, you know what, we will share our success stories. We will share how we are learning. And what we did, we started with something what we call mic drop sessions, which was basically every Friday, about 45 minutes, someone would come and share what they have learned, what they are doing. And every month, someone from the leadership would come and share what they have learned. Okay. And that built a culture where people believed in learning. We saw team members going out for one day of the sprint, going and learning, come back. They used to come back and start sharing sessions within team as well. And we started building a culture where team and different product teams started collaborating, started sharing what they're learning, what they were doing something different. And eventually, rather than creating a community of practice, we built a community of interest. It was basically, are you interested in learning this? And these are a few people who are interested in someone is learning, and they met regularly. That's how we changed the culture in the organization. The measure for success, attrition rate going down, satisfaction going up, and leaders joining in the journey and sharing what they have been, demonstrating basically that, continuous learning is important. So, and this is just for fun. Basically, most of the time, this is what happens where people at the leadership, they believe, this has happened again. This, we have tried it before. It will never work. This kind of mindset is what we call in improv, yes and but, where the conversation never moves forward. Yes, but. Okay. So if you are in an organization like this, where your leadership itself or themselves are obstacle to transformation, you will need a buy-in to show them this is, you are the system constraint that's not letting the team move forward. Okay. So that's the second strategy, championing leadership. Okay. The third strategy is building a team, right? So one person is transformation is a journey. Transformation is not a destination, first of all. So you need a team who aligns to your purpose, who has like mindset, who will work together to overcome obstacles, impediments, and come up with different strategies and share these strategies across the organization. So it's not just one leader. A leader will have a transformation team. Okay. This transformation team, they can work on strategy, they can work on training, they can work on sharing different practices, frameworks, and empowering people to pick practices that they would like to work with. Okay. Generally, most of the time, I've seen organizations creating an Agile COE, Center of Excellence. And then I remember I was a part of Agile COE once, and we were doing this monthly session, and I asked, anyone who's interested can join this Agile COE, who's interested to talk about Agile. And there was a BA who said, you know what, this is Center of Excellence. I'm not excellent in Agile, but I want to learn about it. So the name itself drove away the participation. So we stopped calling our Center of Excellence. Center of Excellence doesn't mean we are all excellent in what we are doing. It means we have some common thread that we would like to talk about, like to be engaged with. Okay, so the transformation team should help you understand how policies or how strategies can be implemented. I've also seen there has to be a change in teams when you work with teams. I've liked asking team members, and when I go into as consultant, what has changed for you? So there are times when I've walked into an organization, I've said, we have started our journey and we have transformed our team names, and like, okay, now our PM is called an Agile PM, our team is called a squad. And then when I ask them, okay, what are they doing differently now? Oh, they're doing the same thing. The name's changed. That's not transformation. If you are doing the same thing that you did a month back, a week back, you have not transformed. Transformation means you are moved from one place where you were doing something to another place where you are doing something different. Okay, and this movement is taking you towards achieving the bigger purpose or bigger goal that has been set by the leadership. So that's where transformation team comes. The other aspect of building a transformation team is to start building a culture of appreciation, gratitude. Those are few things which helps. And this transformation team is supposed to challenge the status quo. And there are times when leaders don't like people to question them, and that's tough. And I agree. So as coaches, there are ways of how do you share your observation, share your questions without hurting someone's emotions or ego, and then try to build that culture. Few of the things that I've seen, transformation teams have been asked to do or build a team or build team members of T-shaped. Again, a practice of building T-shaped, not even thinking about people. In reality, has anyone gone down to the team members and asked, would you like to be a T-shaped or pie-shaped or broken comb-shaped? Why? That's lacking. When I work with team members and I say, okay, there's an organizational leadership wants people to become T-shaped because that will help build a cross-functional team. Not everyone wants to be T-shaped. They are happy. Some people want to master the trade that they are working on. So you can't push a strategy just because somebody said T-shaped skill set is good. Okay. When I talked about community of interest, that helps in building a T-shaped skill for people who really wants to become, really want to learn and become T-shaped skill people. So if there's a policy, think, why would anyone buy this policy? Like a product, right? You buy a product because you like it and you are invested in it. Think of a practice and think, why would anyone like to use it? Okay. The next one, this is a bit controversial. Breaking down to reform and rebuild. There are times when it's easier to break down the structure and try to rebuild again from scratch. You might say how and why, right? The reason behind this strategy is for, I've seen organizations trying to put plasters over things that are not working just because they don't want to change the structure. They don't want to move away. They are still in between. Oh, we were project, we used to work in project culture. Now we want to move into product culture. We are neither here, neither there. And now we are trying to put plasters on how things are going to work. We don't know a PM will become a Scrum Master. We don't know a senior PM will become a product owner. What is a product owner doing? It brings more confusion, right? There has to be a clear strategy of where you are, where you want to go, or where you want to be, how you want to be, right? And what would this structure look like? When I was in a transformation, we moved from a project in culture to a project structure to a product structure. And the few things that we started with was 1 week of planning of how project would move into a product. We went into defining products, product value, product boundaries. Whom do we need? What do we need for it? Okay. What roles do we need? Who can do that? What kind of skill sets are lacking? And we identified more roles that we will need to have because of this movement. 1 week of participation from leaders, senior management, and also the teams in the last few days for them to understand how this change will, because if you keep people in, don't share this kind of information, it creates more confusion. Okay, alignment is really important. I've also seen people copying frameworks, right? And the most famous one is copying Spotify framework. And nobody reads what Henrik Nieberg wrote in 2015-16 in his article. He created this picture, and everyone, I've worked in a couple of transformation where I've walked in and had said, oh, this is what we have done. We have created tribes, we have created squads, we are creating guilds. And this is what Henrik Nieberg wrote in his article. This is the state of Spotify as of today, and it will evolve. But what organizations do is they pick up that state and they try to paste it. They say, this is how my organization would look. They don't inspect and adapt. They don't let it grow. They don't let it evolve. So just copying and pasting someone's framework, and then what happens? They'll start putting plasters on top. Oh, this is not working. That's not working. And they'll say, oh, what's the best practice? What's the industry good practice? There's no good practice or best practice. This is where we need to evolve. We need to understand where we want to go as an organization. Okay, and this is critical because there are times some people will not be happy, and this is place where people might say, oh, I don't want to work on this, I don't want to work like this, I might move on. But this is, rather than creating confusion for someone, this helps bring alignment and clarity on someone's role and value for the organization. It's tough to do, but the focus on building of what needs to happen or what kind of structure can be built is really good. And it helps you build that culture within the organization. Next one, alignment. I talked about breaking down and building the alignment. So it goes hand in hand. Keeping someone in dark, it's going to create more confusion. You have to co-create it. It's said, if I see it, I own it. So when we did this 1 week workshop, we got the teams to start building their own environment of how this product will work, what are the dependencies on other product. These are not modules that you're working on. These are product end to end. You own it, the code base, the delivery, the pipelines, everything. And that's how would you then align to what the bigger goal is. Organizations are these days also using OKRs, objective key results, by defining, and this is again one of the transformation failures or OKR failures that I've seen. They'll get someone in and they'll say, oh, this is OKR. They'll do a couple of hours of workshop to a product owner, to a product manager or a Scrum Master, and say, okay, now go and create this OKRs for that product teams. That's not how it works. You need to first get the teams to discuss and understand what the objective is, basically. What are the key results that we should work on? It's not just the product owner's responsibility. It's not just the Scrum Master's responsibility. It's the entire product team who can help you out. Because engineers who are working on a product, they know, they know better about the product at times. So getting the right people in, getting the right kind of mindset in, and be ready, be ready for questions, be ready for ideas. And this is where when we conduct strategy, when we conduct workshop, we want divergent thinking. We want people to come up with new and different ideas rather than saying, oh, one idea, that's it, we'll run with it. So OKRs, my understanding of OKRs is it's not just one person or a product owner's responsibility. You have to have an organizational OKR and then a product OKR. A product OKR can be co-created with product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. Another alignment that I always misalignment I always see is transformation is only for IT people. It's not for infrastructure. It's not for PMO. It's not for governance and stuff. So a product team, would need support and agility from other parts. You are as fast as the slowest member in your chain, right? So when OKRs are being made, OKRs should also be made for other teams within the organization. It's not, IT is not the cost center, first of all. When digital transformation, and we talk about digital transformation and agile transformation, IT is not a cost center. IT is a partner in revenue generation. And it's not just the business guys who are generating revenue. And that's where the mindset, the big mindset shift has to happen within the organization, where they believe IT becomes a cost center. And that's a project management mindset. So that alignment, purpose, transformation team, they all, and the leaders, if you have the first three strategy, helps in building this alignment within the organization, within the teams and team members. Okay. And that really helps. The next one is having a change adoption strategy. Okay, now there are lots of different strategies that you can use, you can follow. At you have your Kubler-Ross, but basically, what is it saying? It is talking about a change process, a change, change adoption strategy. It really helps in identifying the different kinds of behavior your organization or your team members or your people within the organizations are showing, and based on that you change your strategies. I've seen Atka's survey questionnaires, and I've seen organizations just focusing on, oh, we need to increase the score, but score is a demonstration of is a reflection of your behavior. So if you want to increase your score, you work on the behavior, you work on the people. Don't focus Atkar, any model is any survey is on the right hand side is the practice. You have to focus on people whose behavior will change the scores. I've seen consultants coming in focusing on improving the scores, and that's where transformation starts to fail, right? And one of the big mistake that organizations do or leaders do is making being agile or agile as the goal. I forgot in the purpose. One of the most statement that I've heard, being agile is the goal. Transformation goal, we all a transformation purpose cannot be to be agile, because we are all agile. What happens if you are told, oh, you need to be more agile, right? Our mind starts fighting with us, saying, okay, I'm agile as with the best of my capability. Now this organization, the leaders are asking me to become more agile. How can I do that? And I start resisting, right? So agile is never the goal. Agile is a vehicle to achieve a goal. All right. So that's where we need to understand, if being agile is the goal, people will start doing Scrum, daily Scrum, sprint planning, and all that stuff. And the focus would be on doing agile rather than being agile. Okay. So back on this this would be the last one. Oh, I have another 5-10 minutes, but I'll take a pause after this and I'll take the questions. Okay. I see lots in the chat window. So now the strategy should help you identify how should you focus or where should you focus. Your focus should be to build a sustainable pace. People should not feel fatigued, because this is a continuous journey. You can't force people to work and keep changing. One issue, this is going more from a human brain perspective. When we are learning something, we use our frontal part, prefrontal cortex, which is which requires more oxygen when you're learning. And when it requires more oxygen, it drains out your energy. And when it drains out your energy, your body says, don't do that. The back of your brain is called basal ganglia, which is more of a hard drive for you, which you can you do all your regular activities based on in your mind, in all the information you have stored. So you have to slowly help people learn things, and that will help overcome that resistance and move it into their basal ganglia, where they are doing things. And how do you do that? There are strategies like modeling behavior, where you demonstrate what you want to achieve. Have some kind of strategy how you want to change. I talked about transformation where we did a big bang, where we changed from project to product, a 1 week workshop strategy, and then next week we started doing an inspect and adapt and understanding how it worked. We had a big bang approach. There are small improvements, small continuous Kaizen. A big bang is called Kaikaku. If you want to check what it means online, you'll get a lot of articles. Have some kind of strategy going. Some organizations say, oh, we'll pick one team, we'll try to improve all the things that they're doing, and then we'll try to replicate in another team and try to inspect and adapt. Have that kind of strategy. Try to have innovation strategies. Try to have open spaces where ideas are generated, where questions are raised. And these days, I've seen organizations having more and more open culture about sharing, having calls, having town halls, having places where people are talking about and asking questions to senior leadership. That kind of culture really helps build that strategy. One key thing: there's no going back. There's no going back. That's what the leader should always help their organization to understand. We move forward. We move forward because we know there's something better we can do. Okay. If a team, I've heard teams saying, okay, we tried, we did not succeed, let's go back to what used to happen. As a leader, as a coach, as a Scrum Master, don't let your team to go back. You need to find a next step which can help and resolve that problem. Okay. Going back would mean a bigger resistance the next time you try to improve or try to transform. So lead by example. If you are a leader, if you are a manager, and lead by example and help people understand we always move forward and we help, we find a better way rather than going back. Going back is not the strategy. Okay. So with that, I'll take a pause. I think there's 10 more minutes left, and it's better to I'll stop sharing now. It's better to have a Q&A round because I've said a lot, a big monologue. So shall I look at the chat window?
Yeah. Thank you, Rohit. There's one question at 6:34. Rest for the comments. So if you focus on that, that will help you save some time.
How do you best manage poor performers in Agile?
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing, how do you classify poor performers? For whom are they poor performers? Okay. In coaching, we are in the coaching world, we say we meet people, we meet teams where they are, and we help them achieve what they can. Right. So it's a very subjective question. So my question back to you is, who are poor performers? How do you identify them? Okay. And then how would you like to help them? If they are poor performers, what can you do for them? Right. So, nobody, and this is my belief, nobody wants to do bad. Everyone is trying to do their best, to their best, to their own best of their capability. So if they are not, there's something lacking. And how can you help them out? Do they need some kind of mentoring? Do they, organizations like Google, Amazon, they provide coaches for anyone who would like to get coached. Okay. When I was doing a transformation, I had a team lead who came to me and said, I would like to get coached so that I can get to the next level and get a promotion next year. And I said, yeah, let's do that. There's nothing agile coaching in that, but I was able to help him, coach him, and find how he can be a better candidate for the next promotion cycle. Okay, so you can't manage anyone first thing. You need to say, how can you support? Because the manager culture is more command and control, and a change requires partnership and support, because in a transformation cycle, everyone is scared. So if you say this is where you have to go, it's like, if you think of an army with people, old movie where people were holding spears and they were in the first line, they will all be scared, because there's they are the first people who are moving forward, and they don't know the terrain, they don't know their enemy. So should we classify them as poor performers? Should we tell them? Should we help them? Should we empower them? So find out what can help them out. That's my response. Hopefully that answers your question.
The next question is breakdown. Can get by. That was 637 from Leroy.
Breakdown can get buy-in. However, how do you ensure that morale for the group does not suffer? Okay, so again, morale depends on, for me, if I get everyone engaged on how things are going to change, and how, because if you have a role, it doesn't change your value, right? You're providing value in some in a different way. If you are a PM and you become an agile PM and you're doing the same thing, that's not transformation. Okay, so if you have to move from from one place to another and your role is changing, the best way is to identify, why is this role required? Why is this role valuable to the organization's success? Okay, if you create a role just for the sake of it, that's not transformation again. So keeping morale high is to build alignment to the purpose, how they can be helpful. And I always believe that if you have a role in an organization right now, it is of value. You're providing some kind of value to the organization. If you're not, organization will not let you be, right? So, and if you move on to another transformed role, you will be providing value, and that's how you keep the morale high. And there might be time when you say, okay, I don't want to work on this role. I don't feel valuable here. And there is existing value, other roles which can provide value. Would you like to work on that? If not, there are organizations who have asked people to let, this is where we are going. If you can't join this journey, we can't help you. We can help you find some other role in any other organization. So, it's better to be part of the, better to have the like-minded people with, the right morale. Otherwise, people would leave as well.
Thank you, Rohit. Next question is at 640 from Jera. What is the best approach to integrate change management activities with the agile delivery?
To realize true transformation across a business. What is the best approach to integrate change management activities with agile delivery to realize the true potential? Okay. All right. There's no silver bullet, first of all. You will need to understand in your organization, what's your change management activity? I've found organizations, and I've worked with big banks where they have big release processes, change management processes, a lot of documentations, identifying value in each activity, and then trying to remove those non-value added activities, which is called value stream mapping, basically. And then trying to understand how can we make the team accountable for the release rather than having a separate team. Okay. One of the transformations we had, we have a referencing company. We had a big release team. What we did was we started, the release management became more of a support team, and the teams who were developing became more owner of the pipelines. And what the release team did was more of an audit, because releases required more documentation, and they started building better, bringing more tools that can help the team. So again, you have to find out what is the slack in your change management activity, and how can your team get more empowered to really run their own or own their own pipelines.
There's next question at 650 from Megan. How do we manage those that are fearful of change?
I basically answered this in the first question. So you can't manage anyone. You can support, right? As coaches, we are partnering people in their change. And you said, and as I said, it's a fear, and the more they become more afraid when you say this is the only way, and you are the one who's going to do it. So when you become a manager, command and control, you bring in more fear. Be a partner. Think of yourself. Put yourself in those shoes and say, okay, if I'm going through a transformation, if I'm trying to change, if I'm trying to learn, would someone come and manage me, or would you like someone to be a partner in that journey and say, oh, I'm struggling here, can you help me? And that really helps to move you forward in that change journey. And that's where, as coaches, that's what we try to do as Scrum Masters. I try to help Scrum Masters understand how to be supportive and partnering that, the teams to in this change journey.
Thank you. Next question is at 6:52. Shiraz, how much trust should
organizations have in the product owner in Scrum? How would you deal with situations where the organization does not want to leave old hierarchical structures? What can you do if nobody wants to change? Okay, you can't do anything basically. So in the coaching world, we say someone would need to, coaching only happens if someone wants to get coached. You can't go and enforce someone. Okay, companies and organizations have been overrun by competitors because they have not changed. Companies like Kodak, companies like Blockbusters, companies like what was that book? Sorry, but organizations, Nokia Mobile. Sorry. So organizations need, they need to understand. The leaders need to understand that structures need to be changed, and it has to come from leaders. If they don't want to change, you can't change anyone. You can't enforce anything. Okay. And that's,
next question is, where did you get Agile T-shirt?
I'll come to that. There's a part where organizations have trust on a product owner. I don't know how much trust is good. The product owners are real decision makers who provide value, so they should trust. I'm not sure how much, how to measure that, but there should be. Where did you get that Agile T-shirt? Oh, it's an Agile process. I got it from Amazon.
Okay.
I've got a few.
Okay.
And I wear them on all my talks, different shirt. If you come next time, I'll be wearing some other Agile T-shirt. Okay, the next one is product centricity naturally delivered by Agile? No. So Agile, what is Agile basically? You can be doing developing without becoming a product company. But be flexible to changes, but be flexible to any, following those Agile values and principles, then you are being Agile. Product is one way, again, product is one way to deliver value. Okay. And it is what it does is it brings focus on a specific aspect of your organization. So your product structure, the idea behind creating products is to have focus on specific areas and say, okay, this is my product, this is my boundary, and this is delivering this kind of value to the customer. And it helps organization to realize how much money or how much budget should I put in certain product or other product. Strategy helps them. Okay, being Agile, you don't have to be just product centric. You can be non-product centric and still be Agile. They are service organization, product is value is delivered. Basically, if you focus more on delivering value, you will be trying to become more Agile. So it's not naturally. You can be Agile without being product centric as well. And that's my perspective. I might be wrong as well. So
thank you. I think that was the last question. Rest all our thank yous. So let's give a round of applause to Rohit for his wonderful talk. I have learned a lot. Although I practice Agile coaching, but I have learned quite a lot. I have enriched myself, I would say.
Oh,
And I thank all of you for attending this session. We had very good attendance. Over 79 people attended
wow.
this session. And the session has been quite interactive. As Rohit said right in the beginning, he will be talking on the second part of this talk on 22nd at the same time on the same channel. So please register if you have not done so, and please join us on that day. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with Rohit. He has shared his contact details. That's all. Thank you very much for your interest and encouragement to us. If you have any questions or comments, you can get in touch with us through head office. Thank you very much. I'm closing the
Thank you.
session now.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.